Trying to predict which PhD is best for the future is really difficult. No one can predict the future. And also what is best is very different from person to person. So in this list, what I've done is I've kind of decided that best falls into some categories. The first one is flexibility. The worst thing about doing a PhD is that it kind of like forces you into this very narrow field because you are like doing research at the edge of knowledge. And to be able to be flexible at the end of it, like to be able to show easily that your PhD has got real world implications so you can sort of like jump between a number of jobs is really important. So flexibility is a high sort of component of a future-proof PhD, no doubt. Pay. Now, PhDs do get paid a little bit more. On average, they're not paid like much more than masters, but I've looked at higher income professions that I think a PhD will be valued in, and that's important. The third thing is return on investment. Now, I've done a couple of videos in the past about this, but essentially a PhD has to have a return on your time investment and opportunity cost. So for all those years that you are inside a university doing research, you are missing out on the opportunities of building a career outside, and that is something that not a lot of people take into account. So not only is it the time cost, it's the opportunity cost, and if you're self-funded, it is literal return on investment. How much money you're putting in versus how much you're going to get back in the end. And the fourth thing is future security. I've chosen these PhD areas just because I feel like, no one can predict the future, but I feel like if the world continues going the way I feel like it is going, these areas are going to be more in demand, and also they're going to be more highly valued going forward. All right, let's take a look at the areas. I've stayed away from like specific research projects because clearly that would be like a whole guru level of prediction. But these areas I think will satisfy those criteria. This video is brought to you by my newsletter. Go check it out at andrewstapleton.com.au/newsletter. The link is in the description. When you sign up, you'll get 5 emails from the tools I use, the podcasts I've been on, and more. Exclusive content only available on that list. It's completely free. Win-win. Go check it out. The first area of a PhD that I think is absolutely future-proof is a specific medical field. Like if you do a PhD in cancer biology, if you do it in psychology, if you do it in something related to medicine, I really feel like this is a great future-proof. Like people are always going to get sick, and new diseases are always on the horizon, and also technology evolves very quickly to combat different medical issues. So if you are doing a PhD in medical kind of fields, I really feel like they can be very sort of well rewarded in the future. But also in the medical field, like it's a bit of science, it's a bit of psychology. There's a lot of flexibility, I think, that goes into the sort of jobs and career options for you at the end of getting this PhD. And I know some neurosurgeons like to do neuroscientists, and it's like this like massive, awesome combination of academia and practical skills. And so the fact that you're working alongside clever doctors, clever people, means that I think there's a greater opportunity to slot into a number of different areas in the medical field. And also, like I said, people will always get sick. I think it's an easy way to get, it's an easier way to get funding because there's an obvious human connection to the PhD research, which I think maybe if you want to go into academia afterwards, or you want to sort of pursue your own research interests, it's much easier to sell something that has direct human implications rather than something that has, a little bit more of a loose connection to things that people are experiencing right now. So yes, health, medical, psychology, all of that, I feel like the human sort of condition allows a PhD to be perfectly kind of intertwined with those issues. doing a PhD in computer science really opens up a whole range of different opportunities for you. Now, computer science is a huge field. You can go from like the server stack, the software engineer sort of side, all the way through to management and software user interface management. And there are so many different levels in this field that I feel like if you get a PhD in any sort of online security, computer science kind of world, it's going to be a little bit more future-proof. Remember that technology is always evolving, and the thing about a PhD is you are on the front foot of the latest discoveries, the newest things, and to be able to demonstrate that in a tech sort of like field where things are constantly moving quickly, I feel like that is a perfect kind of overlap of skills that will be highly rewarded. Now, here's to say that doing a computer science PhD doesn't necessarily relate to more money later on. You really have to balance up the opportunity cost, and it seems like in this field, a lot of people really value the experience that comes from working on software or in a certain area much more than they do academic kind of abilities. So you really have to weigh this up in this field, I think. But if I was going again and I liked computers and coding and problem solving and maths and statistics, it just seems to be like a perfect little bubble which can open up more opportunities for you in the future, and there is a thriving industry to sort of like inject yourself into at the end of a PhD. You're not left flailing like I was in chemistry, being like, whoa, where do I go now? Big data. Everything we do is about data these days. You know, I've heard the sort of like tropes that data is the new oil and all that sort of stuff, but big data and data assurance seems to be a really awesome place to sort of do further education, to get more experience, put your sort of like your mind towards progressing. Quite an important part of like now being human, which is all of the data that you collect and how that is managed, how that's analyzed, how that's sorted, how that's made valuable. All of these sort of like data things I think are incredibly sort of future-proof for anyone who wants to get into that field. So doing a PhD, once again, is a little bit of a way up in terms of the opportunity cost component, but data and management of that data and analyzing that data and using the newest, best, greatest methods for getting the most out of data, I think will be very valuable to companies in the future and right now as well. Because, you know, with all these things, you've got to think, well, where's the field going to be in about 5 to 7 years after I get my PhD and sort of like want to sort of explore these career options. So data, I think, is one of those things that will be highly valued, and even more so in the future once more and more things go online. The Internet of Things, everything will be connected to the internet, and yes, the data and data assurance, you know, protecting that data online, I think is going to be very valuable for people later on. So data. Maths and statistics isn't the sexiest of subjects, and it's certainly something that I really didn't like. Like when I was doing my PhD in undergraduate, there was maths for chemists, which is what I did, and it was a horrible, dry subject. Maybe it was just taught badly. But maths and statistics are something that people find difficult. They don't like it, and therefore I feel like the competition going forward, if you've got a PhD and you show that you're good at thinking on the forefront of knowledge in terms of these new mathematical and statistical kind of developments, they're going to be very valuable. And I think they're mainly going to be valuable to people who want to employ statisticians in banking. I know a couple of people who did a physics degree that was very heavily maths orientated. They did a lot of maths subjects and they did a PhD in solar cell technology, but now they work in a bank doing solar cell analysts. So they're like an analyst that looks at, I'm probably going to absolutely destroy this career that they've got, but they're an analyst for a bank that looks at renewable energy, and they look at investment opportunities, they look at all of these things, and the fact that they've got a highly kind of developed knowledge of a certain area, in this case renewable energy, and a really great understanding of maths and statistics as part of their PhD means that they are very well positioned for very rich people to want to sort of pay them for those skills. So maths and statistics, if it's your thing, then I feel like it is a great foundational PhD that can provide a opportunity to launch into many other different fields and careers that will be highly valued. Yes. One thing I want to say is there is no point chasing a PhD just for money. It doesn't make sense. I would much rather have a really lovely life and not earn so much money, but rather than like sell my soul to a subject area or a PhD and then a career which I hate. The best PhD for the future, I always think, is one that allows you to remain academically stimulated, to receive fair compensation for what you're doing, and also something that you get a lot of personal sort of satisfaction and pride from. That, I think, is more important than chasing money. The best PhD for the future is one that you can do for, a long period of time that will keep you interested, that you feel a personal connection to, and isn't just all about the money. So bear that in mind when you're choosing your PhD. If you like this video, please remember to give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you want to, and also let me know in the comments what you would add to that list. Are there any PhDs that are just perfectly future-proof? We're not talking about the nitty-gritty of each research field, but rather the areas. Let me know in the comments. I'd love to know. Also, go check out academiainsider.com. That's my new project that was launched this year, and there I have my ebook, The Ultimate Academic Writing Toolkit, which I've get a load of really awesome reviews about, so thank you very much for buying it and let me know what you think. And also, it's home to my forum as well, where there's a bunch of people helping each other become better academics. All right then, I'll see you in the next video.